So there's been a lot of talk recently about Johnny Depp returning to the big screen with a major Tim Burton role. That's right, not talking about the small screen in the Addams Family, but a big screen role here in the movie that's being suggested, Beetlejuice 2. See, according to everything that's been going around for the last week plus, Johnny Depp, he's been reportedly in talks to join Tim Burton's long-awaited Beetlejuice sequel. And you know what? This actually makes sense for all the right reasons. Now, the reason that you and I are going to talk about this too is because this kind of stuff here, it sounds like it's going well beyond rumor. There's actually discussion about this stuff happening. You have Tim Burton named again and again in association with Johnny Depp. And some of the people that I've been hearing this from, it sounds a lot more fact than rumor. You know that Johnny Depp is ripe for a comeback too. This guy is going to land a major motion picture role. It's going to blow the heck up. And why wouldn't it be with Tim Burton? I mean, that collaboration, those two people in association with a huge product, oh yeah, that not only makes sense, it makes sense for all the right reasons. So yeah, let's talk about that and so much more. So hey there to all you wonderful folks, by the way, I hope your afternoon is going splendidly, but more than that, as we reach the halfway plus mark of 2021's first month, I hope that this year is treating you kindly. So as far as Johnny Depp reportedly being in talks with Tim Burton to join Beetlejuice's sequel, this thing, like I said before, it makes sense for all the right reasons. See, first and foremost, Johnny Depp's name is everywhere, and I do mean everywhere. And you know that old adage about all press being good press? In his case, it definitely is, because he doesn't just have supporters. He doesn't just have people talking about him on Twitter and filling out petitions. People are actually backing what products they can with money, as was showcased with Sauvage Cologne. I want to read this to you, really to iterate that fact. So this week, this was a few weeks ago, by the way, Depp was featured in an ad from the brand Sauvage Cologne that aired in the UK during the Great British Bake Off, suggesting he would remain the face of the fragrance. Word was he was paid somewhere between $3 million to $5 million for the TV spot. Noticing that Dior was refusing to drop Depp in the same way Warner Brothers had, fans of the actor were quick to hop on social media to voice their support for the company. Johnny Depp is still the face of Sauvage because Dior aren't idiots. Be like Dior. That's what one person said. Many others, they were posting the same type of opinion, while one praised Dior for practically being the one sponsor left for Johnny Depp that hadn't turned their back on him. Now, for myself, I don't support companies going in and just listening to social media noise alone. They're supposed to go in and they're supposed to also listen to the sound of money. And you know what? That's what you heard with this. Internet searches for Sauvage Cologne, because people were trying to figure out everything about it, they reportedly increased by 23%. And you know what was interesting about that? It spiked even more, but it maintained along those lines for weeks on end, right up until the holidays. That made the cologne the best-selling men's fragrance at the fragrance shop. It also listed as a bestseller at the perfume shop. Basically, you had people going in, again, not just being vocal. They were also opening their wallets. If they're willing to do this for the one backer because of an ad, what do you think people are going to do when that first movie pops up and says, you know what, I'm not going to listen to all this buzz and this rhetoric. I'm going to go in and I'm going to give this guy a role, and a starring role at that. Now, as far as a bankable commodity is concerned too, we're talking about somebody that is ranked number 3 as leading actors. If you look at these numbers here, we have the best known as a leading actor based on credits and roles for 40 films with, look at this amount of money from those films, $8 billion, yes, that's billion with a B, $284,488,983 made. Again, that ranks him number 3. Now, before all of this mess, too, he was getting paid bank. We're talking about quite a bit of money for each role, but right now, I imagine a company could get him for a steal. Imagine having his name, everything that's out there, all of the headlines. If you went in, you were willing to weather all of that, you could have all of those headlines there. You would have all of that support, and you could do it on a reduced fee, probably getting all of that money back to him on the back end, giving it to him in residuals if you meet certain levels, which you know they would. See, Johnny Depp alone, he's a license to print money. I mean, if you think about Pirates, you think about how much money that made. You can't argue with that. In fact, that is appealing to companies. But then when you think about him in collaboration with someone like Tim Burton, oh yeah. I mean, look at the past. There's a lot of people that would actually go in and they would take that challenge. They would say, yeah, I'd like this movie again. I mean, if you look at the 8 films they did together, you had Edward Scissorhands, you had Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, Alice in Wonderland, and Dark Shadows. As this notes, too, a lot of people are confused on this. Alice Through the Looking Glass, that second movie, you had him in it, but Tim Burton was not at the helm. And then after 2012, after the financial and the critical failure of Dark Shadows, the two, they ended up distancing themselves. But you're talking about something that has almost been a decade long. You still have these two that have remained tight friends here. And again, when you look at the amount of money that's been made in that, oh yeah, this thing, it is ripe for a comeback. See, if you look back to the original 1988 property, you have to ask 3 questions. Number 1, was this popular then? Is it still popular now? Was it popular then? Oh yeah, resoundingly so. Is it still popular now? Oh yes. Go on Amazon and look up special editions of this. These things, they sell like hotcakes. They sell from $50 to $100 a pop. This thing is still in demand. It's still selling. It still makes money. That turns you on to profitability. Profitability back in the day, we're talking about 1988. See, it had a production budget of $15 million. There were a lot of worries about this too, because a lot of people didn't know how to classify it. But despite that, it pulls in a worldwide box office that is 5 times the production budget, which is a resounding success. 2 basically breaks even. Plus, it makes 5 times. And look at this. You have no international box office whatsoever. All of this money, you see a domestic box office, $73,839,613, with a worldwide take of $74.5 million. So if you think about that now, in terms of what we see here, think about how much money this could make. And that's what studios see. And again, remember, that doesn't bring in DVD sales or Blu-ray sales. You're talking about another $100 million plus. So yeah, this and not being touched, this is rife for a sequel, or it's rife for a reboot. Now, as far as this movie getting a sequel is concerned, we already know that this movie has been in talks. It's been in talks for years, in fact, with Tim Burton coming out in 2014. We're talking 7 years ago, and saying, yes, we've been greenlit to have a sequel here. Now, something that has been bringing a mainstream credibility to this notion are some of the sources that have been bringing it up. Places like Style, because these places legitimately want the man to fail. If you go in, you check out some of their articles, they talk about the man's career being over. They talk about how all of this stuff, it's going to undo him. And yet, at the same time, they begrudgingly bring up Dior, and they bring up this film. Why? Because they know this film, it's in discussion, and they know this is more than a lifeline. If this thing hits, this thing will blow up. And when it blows up, it will be an undeniable success. And despite Hollywood wanting to go out and say anything, the one thing that they listen to is money. I've been hearing this stuff behind the scenes too. Like I said, I've been hearing a lot of noise about this, a lot of noise about Tim Burton, and it makes sense to me. But anyway, I'm wondering what you think about all of it. And again, I'm not just talking about what you think about the rumor. I'm not talking about what you think about the news. What would you think about this movie? Would you support it? Let me know what you think about all of it. And as always, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You make this stuff possible. That's what these companies are realizing. That's why Tim Burton, Johnny Depp, it might work out there. And beyond that, that's why Johnny Depp will ultimately get himself something, because you make things work.